You always like to do that when the bullies are around, but they're never here to actually see it.
I know. To hell with them. Jerk. I was going to talk up on them because they actually made it on time. Greetings, geeks. Welcome back to another episode of This Geek in Comics, special Tuesday edition. Very special. We only do these every now and again. Top five TV shows this time around. The bullies are fashionably late. I think they're going to make it. I think at least Leroy is going to make it. Yeah. If not, to hell with it. We'll just do it. We'll just do it ourselves. Yes, there is still a lot of... All the hype. I'm pretty sure.
So
Adam
when does that drop our time?
2 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, 2 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
And the servers crash.
I don't know if I can stay up
2:05.
that late.
The servers crash at 2:05.
Exactly.
That's true. I mean, realistically, you're gonna have to wait probably at least half an hour after the premiere.
If you get up at like 5 in the morning, I think you're going to be 100% safe.
Probably.
Sit there in your jammies.
That's probably the best way to go.
It's more of a wake up early rather than stay up late type of deal.
I will not be doing any of the above.
I mean, I'm patient. I'll wait until probably this weekend.
And what are the spoilers going to be? Oh, shit. I mean, who gives a hell? I mean,
this is the movie that you watch to watch, not to know the plot.
Exactly. Oh, there's Eli. Hey, Eli.
Hey, Eli.
We're already live, Eli. Fashionably late.
Like your shirt.
Well, look who bothered to show up.
We're getting hype going for Kong Godzilla. Are you hyped?
I am. I thought it was coming out last week. I was all bummed out.
Dude, that changed. That changed like last month, like really early in the month.
Yeah.
After they had already hyped it so much for the 25th.
I went out and got a bunch of movie munchies and got all ready to do it. And then,
dude, I've seen when you have a movie munchie run. It may have been for a snowstorm or something, but you took a picture of some. Yeah. So what's going on? Everybody good? We're still waiting.
Yeah, I got my second COVID shot this morning.
Oh, good. My old lady got hers yesterday. Congratulations.
Yeah,
which one did you get?
The one that starts with the one that Dolly Parton did. I can't remember.
Oh, the Pfizer. That's the Pfizer one, right?
Yeah.
Maybe that's I don't know. It's sort of like a Pokemon. Which Pokemon are you gonna pick?
Yeah, it's the one. I think it's the Moderna. Yeah, whatever it's called. I think that's one. The one that Dolly Parton did.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm supposed to be getting a schedule, something going. All right, well, let's get this going. I'll start out. We're talking our favorite not favorite TV shows. It's however you want to do, but it's top 5 TV shows. TV is kind of weird for me. Most of it's like the exact same thing, man. You know what I mean? It's repetitive.
Well, that's usually a thing with TV is you find something that you like and then you just keep watching it.
But I don't think it's repetitive for me. I think a lot of it is in and of itself sort of the same formula for everything, for the most part.
That's true of stories in general, I mean,
that's true.
Some playwright dude said that there's like 28 plots or something like that.
Yeah.
And no story ever written isn't one of these like 20-something, 30-something plots.
Yeah.
So, get over it. There's going to be tropes. There's going to be plot beats. Just, it's how well you do it, not,
So I would say that, just some basic television bullshit, right? Every show establishes basically its own context, which is usually not found in the real world. There's some surreal, angle there. And then once it establishes that context, everything has to work within that same context. And when it starts to not, the show can get bad. We got Jumping the Shark from, Happy Days when the show sort of broke away from what it had established when the lead character literally jumped over a shark on water skis too.
Well, that's a good indication of like what undoes a lot of good shows is when they sort of outlive themselves.
100%.
Like, they have run out of ideas. They are just scrambling, grasping at straws. And that's where the term does in fact come from.
Yeah.
So.
So then on the flip side of that, and I think we're going to definitely talk about at least one show that did this because it's named after that show. When a show does find its groove and understands its own context, it's called growing its beard. And that's, Will Riker, a character from Star Trek The Next Generation. He got a beard in, I think it was the middle of season 2 or something like that. And then the show had finally found its groove and went forward to greatness. I think that's an important aspect of TV because when everything is so similar in the most general of ways, these specifics sort of, have shows rise to the top. Okay, so with all that said, my number 5 is The Office. It's an American mockumentary sitcom, 2005 to 2013. Steve Carell, Rainn Wilson. If you've never seen The Office, I'm not sure what's going on. Harold Ramis, Joss Whedon, J.J. Abrams directed episodes of this. It makes my list because it's my favorite comedy in a TV landscape full of what I was talking about, basically copy and paste comedies. There's no difference between this show and, I can name 6 other comedies that are just situational comedies, all with good actors, all with solid stories, all with, characters you can relate with and shit like that. But The Office was purposely politically incorrect and meant to literally make the audience cringe at what they were laughing at things that I don't think were really supposed to be funny and are not funny. The shit they do in this and make fun of and address in this show, I think it was ahead of its time in a way in terms of modern day cancel culture. Now, with that said, Archie Bunker was doing the same sort of shit in the same sort of context 30 years before the show was doing it. But I don't know. There was something modern about The Office, and I think everybody could relate to everything else that was going on in the show. And if you couldn't, right, if you didn't see the character of Michael Scott as somebody you should not be, then there was something wrong. And I think the show was beneficial in both of those ways. So, yeah, that's it. The new GVK will have the same plot as Batman vs. Superman. I don't know what that is. What's GVK?
I do not know either.
Godzilla vs. Kong.
Godzilla vs. Kong.
Oh, a Mothra. That's a Mothra.
I was say giant vampire killers. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, The Office hands down one of the best shows. Yeah,
I will point out that you were saying I don't like these shows that are just copy paste, and you just showed a show that is actually a copy paste of a British version of the same show.
No, exactly. But I think this. No, you're right, and that's why I prefaced it with that.
Yeah, but I think the British show had an ending. Didn't it end with 2 seasons, and it was written that way? Yeah. Whereas this went on, and
this went on for a while.
Yeah, it pretty much stayed consistent with its formula. It even when it brought in different characters, and when Michael left, it was still good.
Yeah, yeah.
I just like it's just a very relatable show because I work in an office and I've been in a lot of the same situations that a lot of these characters kind of get into. Not the wacky shit, but the day-to-day stuff that's just really awkward, and I've worked with Michael Scotts in the past. So.
The show does have an awful lot going for it. It is a great show. I think one of its strengths is also that it does a good job with a continuity for all of these different characters. You get to see their relationships form. You get to see
there's a good evolution over time.
Yeah, they create a lot of needs to have. Yeah, they create a lot of good callbacks, a lot of inside jokes that keep circling back. There was one episode where Dwight was talking about stealing somebody's chair, and then 6 or 7 seasons later, he's on his porch and you see that chair. He did in fact steal it. Yeah. So stuff like that. Attention to detail really serves this show well.
Yeah. Cool. That's my number 5. We'll just go around, I guess, like a clock.
Like a clock. All right, so I kind of just did mine by kind of categories of shows. That's how because this is such a broad to just best TV shows. And so this category was the best kind of medical drama show that I watched. And the best one by far is House, I think.
Oh my.
I love House. Not even really for the medical drama shit. I just like House just being a dick the whole time, honestly.
He is a dick. He is a dick.
He is a dick. But yeah, that was my pick. I don't really have a big long spiel about it.
I used to watch House. I remember watching the first couple seasons of that, and it was interesting. It was almost like
it's
like
really
a new disease of the week. You know what I mean? Like what the fuck is that?
It is. It's like a new disease. Like the new disease is the monster of the week, and the team has to come together and figure out what it is. But it's never lupus until the one episode that it is.
Yeah, dude, that's you. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, I was like, what the fuck do these people like? I didn't even know. Like, damn, you can't eat or drink anything. Like, it'll give you some shit that this show will deal with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, at its core, this is a mystery show. You know, in fact, most of the characters are like self-conscious Sherlock Holmes tropes. Even House is a play on Holmes.
Yes, yeah, and that's what I was gonna say. The way you described it, Adam, it's Scooby-Doo, but instead of masked villains, it's lupus disguised as something else or something. I never got into House, but I have watched it. It's good.
Yeah, and he would it would poke fun at it. It poked fun at like when the different cultures, the different modern day trends going, like when the vegan family.
Yeah, it would.
Yes.
Like, I don't know, it's feeding their baby vegan food and then it was malnourished or something, or I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm giving it vegan IV or some shit.
Good choice. Not bad. Well, how about not bad choice?
Oh, okay. Thanks.
Taylor, number 5.
Asshole.
All right, so like Adam, I'm trying to go through basically a bunch of categories. Like I wanted to have a game show on here somewhere.
Ooh.
And okay, so for most of this list, it's going to be way more subjective. Like I try to do objective points, but that's kind of hard to do this time.
Yeah.
So I just picked my favorite game show, The Price is Right, for my number 5. For me, it's because this is emblematic of what makes game shows fun. There's skill involved. It's not just random luck like Wheel of Fortune or something like that. Yeah. There's like variety to it. They're not just doing the same thing from beginning to end. And, they have like bright colors and fun music. And yeah,
I brings up Drew. What about Bob Barker?
Man, fuck Bob Barker. Drew Carey's the man.
Yeah, man. It's weird. I've been watching some old seasons of the Bob Barker Price is Right. That shit's cringy. It is. It's really cringy, man. All right.
I caught of that conversation about the Price is Right. I stopped watching when the Barker Beauties started to be dudes. I couldn't do it anymore.
Oh, my damn. He's literally here for 30 seconds and pisses off every single person who could possibly be watching.
That's kind of shitty of you, Leroy. It really is.
No, and it doesn't really make sense either, okay? For decades, who were the people watching The Price is Right for the most part? Housewives, sitting their ass at home.
Old ladies.
They should have had hot dudes on that shit from day one.
They should have, but you can't do it. You can't change them after 40 years, and then all of a sudden, a Barker Beauty as a dude come out, shirtless and shit.
The show is better from top to bottom after Drew took over for Bob.
Yeah, I like Drew as a host.
I don't think I've watched Price is Right since Barker was.
I can't watch it. It just feels wrong,
ago, man. That was a long ass time ago.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm surprised you're even old enough to remember Bob Barker.
Oh, me? Oh, I'm old. Yeah.
I grew up watching Price is Right. Yeah, I just love Barker.
One of them chicks was like in Playboy that I remember seeing.
She married Ian Ziering from 90210.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Vanna White was also in Playboy. I remember that issue.
She was.
No. Okay, no, they leaked her pictures and put.
Yeah, they leaked her.
They leaked her. Yeah,
She had done nude photos before she done Wheel of Fortune, and somebody owned them. And then when she got famous, that dude sold them. Same thing happened to Marilyn Monroe. Believe it or not, we're getting way.
Here I am trying to talk about a fun game show, feel good type of thing. You guys are over here talking about like celebrity stalker culture bullshit.
Hey, that Vanna White Playboy issue got name dropped in the new season of Cobra Kai. So
yeah, it did.
And I remember I had that too, Johnny.
Price is Right.
Yes,
Price is Right is dope. Sick days from school. That was always on.
Yeah, that's how I started. It was the go-to show when you were home sick for whatever reason.
Yeah, My favorite time was in the 90s, early 2000s when the college kids started grabbing onto it, and then they would go and they would always bid $4.20 every time they came out. It was the best shit ever in the 90s. Anyway, moving on.
I never saw
Good
that.
choice. Eli, we're still on number 5.
Number 5.
Just to catch you up, Leroy. My number 5 was The Office. Adam's number 5 was House, MD.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, pretty good. House is all right. I got no beef with House. It was weird, you know. But, all right, Eli.
My number 5, I got Stranger Things.
Oh, nice one.
Yep.
Just it's pretty much my modern day show of what I'm into now. I think it just as far as impact on pop culture that it's had and bringing back nostalgia and of the 80s, and which launched its own trend for a while. This gave light to, well, you saw it coming up. We had the Goldbergs. I mean, I think Napoleon Dynamite kind of touched on that, but then Stranger Things happened.
Honestly, even WandaVision kind of took from it a little bit.
It does. Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah.
And then you had the new Wonder Woman movie, 84, and then Stephen King's It movies.
It really did usher in an era of 80s nostalgia that we're living in right now.
Yeah.
It wasn't the very first, but it did a lot to really push it.
It basically was an amalgam of everything about the 80s. And it just captured that decade, not just the music and the style, but the stuff we were into, the storyline. It's Stephen King, it's John Carpenter, it's comic books, it's D&D, it's everything us 80s babies were into.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I mean,
it is good shit.
This is actually my number 4.
Nice.
Stranger Things. Yeah.
Very cool.
I just love all this shit. John Carpenter, Steven Spielberg, all that 80s shit, all the shit that I grew up watching. And this was it, realized in a really awesome new form. It's just an awesome show.
Yeah.
It's got a great mixture of humor with suspense. It's got a really cool story behind it. It's got the best cast of child actors I've ever seen in anything. Hands down.
Probably, yeah.
But it's not over. We were talking before you guys showed up that something that holds a lot of shows back is that they kind of peter out at the end, and that could still happen with Stranger Things, which is why I didn't put it on mine.
It could, but right now
I don't think it will. It might not, but it's definitely a damn good show so far.
And even if they just had that first season, I mean, honestly, it took a considerable dip as it's gone on.
Oh,
that first season came out of the chute and was like, holy shit.
The first season is the best season. It came out at the right time. It was the right show at the right time.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah, it got even my kid is into it, and it got him into trying to get into 80s shit and that whole retro 80s style and just putting kids in those dangerous situations that you don't really see in modern children's movies, because back then we had the Goonies and Gremlins and all these movies where Poltergeist, where kids were dealing with these horrible, not only monsters but also horrible domestic stuff, the divorce and domestic violence. And
Firestarter,
Firestarter was about a girl in a rated R movie, I think it really captures what was cool about the 80s and and is being a huge impact on today.
Nice. So. No, that's a great pick. There is that point that it's not over and it could still shit the bed, but it probably
could with the they're going to Russia and all this shit and once you change the formula, yes.
Well, Rocky went to Russia and everything turned out great.
It did.
So,
he ended communism.
He did. He ended fucking communism. But he did what Reagan couldn't.
But that's also part of the 80s. I mean, Russia was a huge threat, in the 80s. So it's again, it works for the storyline. So who knows?
Awesome. Leroy.
Cool. The Boondocks.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice choice.
I don't really know what much to say about it. I mean, like I said, now I'm not counting season 4 based on when they fired the creator of the show, but the first 3 seasons gold. I mean, you had humor, comedy. It was a little bit of anime because they pretty much had an anime studio do the show. It was on Adult Swim, so they could pretty much get away with anything. I watched it recently on HBO Max. Even the stuff that I thought was uncensored, was censored, is uncensored there. So
is the Johnny Rebel episode on HBO?
No, but that's okay because I have it on bootleg.
Yeah, they took that out.
I like how I've only seen that episode once, man.
Yeah. I like how relevant this show is, how it snuck into people who were like, oh, I'm just going to watch some cartoons. And they actually came away learning shit in the weirdest way possible.
Right. Because the thing is, you think a lot of stuff they're just making up on the show. Like, there's no way this happened. Then you Google the stuff they do. You're like, oh, shit, that's real what they just did. Like the Booty Warrior, that's a real fucking thing. He gets out in 5 years, you know?
Yeah.
What's sad is, like, I knew about the Booty Warrior.
I didn't know about the Booty Warrior.
That's why it was so hilarious. I mean, like, you do this the easy way or the hard way. I was like, oh shit, you know.
Oh, even the funny thing, like when they had Samuel Jackson and Charlie Murphy, like reoccurring characters on the show, just acting like they normally do, but then they didn't tell them that they were white guys on the show. So they were just acting like Samuel Jackson, just doing the thing.
So great, dude. Yeah,
and it also it pushed a lot of buttons that I'm always for. You know, go places, make people uncomfortable, but also make it funny. You know, the episode where Martin Luther King came back to life or whatever, and he has that rant at the end was hilarious.
I think they banned that one too. A lot of episodes got banned on that. The one about BET that got banned.
Yeah, that's banned. Yeah. That sucks.
Werner Herzog narrating that episode with the Gangstalicious was hilarious. Yeah, and of course Stinkmeaner, classic.
Right.
Oh yeah, Stinkmeaner. I keep kidding about Stinkmeaner.
See, banning and censoring shit like this misses the overall fucking point of why they did it. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's really interesting how we can be so fucking woke as to be able to absorb this shit and have it be a thing, but then get even more woke and say, no, we can't do that thing because it's offensive now. I don't know, man. It's
that's
weird
the thing.
to me.
Some things can't be done. Like that show can't be made today. I know they're trying to reboot it. They're trying to do it, but they can't redo it again because it was just at the time when it was made. It's,
and the thing about censorship, you know, and this is what I mean. I don't know if you're reading the comic Bitter Root, but they touch on that. They're like, what gets us through these hard times is art and music, and you know, that's what helps us deal with all these injustices in the world. So, and that's, you know, that's how we cope with these things. And for this show to address all this racism and all that stuff that it dealt with on that show, and then to go and censor it, you know, it gave us an outlet, you know, and it sucks that they just,
it almost proves its own, and it's not the full point, but it definitely proves at least one of the points that it was, you know, trying to make in the first damn place.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's a poetry in its own way, you know, that way.
And it started out as a comic strip.
On it. Exactly.
Started out as a comic strip. Yeah, but then he went from there.
Yeah. All right, I'll go now. Number 4. We're already through round 1. Good job, everyone. My number 4 is a lightweight, a dark horse, Supernatural.
Oh shit, man!
Is it still going?
No, it's over now.
Okay.
It's over now. That's actually my number 3,
dude. So Adam actually said he had to get out of here early, so yeah, he's definitely going to be able to do it. It came out in 2005. It's the typical cheap television drama.
Yeah, man. Like
this is every fucking CW show.
Like this is every typical CW show, but this is the one that has endured the longest. And you know,
it probably shouldn't have.
Fun.
It probably
shouldn't have. There was definitely a point where they should have ended it.
Yeah.
But you know what? I still love it for what it became. You know, it's just cheap, shitty horror movies that you can watch every week.
And it's not just that too. It's the shitty dramas. It's anything from soap opera to I don't give a shit. It's winning an Emmy. You know, it's a shitty, stupid drama about 2 brothers who have a destiny. Okay. And yeah, it went 15 seasons, and some of my favorite episodes are after season 5, but I will put the first 5 seasons of Supernatural against anything else because
the first 5 seasons are amazing.
How well done it is. These 2 boys are brothers. Their mom is attacked while the youngest one is still a baby by a demon, and their dad, goes to
is Mephisto.
Yeah, right. He sets out to destroy all this evil shit in the world, right? To try to get revenge eventually on this demon. And his boys are brought into this life. And eventually, by season 5, you learn that, there are demons, but there's also angels. And these 2 boys are the vessels of the Archangel Michael and the Archangel Lucifer, who are supposed to bring about Armageddon. And I mean, it sounds just as fucking epic as I'm saying it within the context of a cheesy, shitty, stupid CW show, man. I don't give a shit. Keep your Flash, keep your I don't know. Even Legends of Tomorrow, as good as it is, has nothing on this. Yeah, I go back to it all the time. It had an animated crossover with Scooby-Doo at one point.
It did.
I was going to mention that one. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this show
It
did
showed
everything.
up on Legends of Tomorrow.
It did. Oh, these guys. Oh, yeah, they did.
Yeah, the car showed up on Legends of Tomorrow. I was like, what the fuck was that? You know?
Holy shit. CW crossover. See, that's what I mean. This show has been everywhere. Alas, on my list, this spot could have been Fringe. It could have been X-Files. But pound for pound, 15 fucking seasons. And these are CW seasons. All right,
man. So there's like 20 something episodes a season.
Yeah, they do them all. If I have only one show for a desert island for the rest of my life, this has got to be it, because there's just so much variety. And it's horror. I think that's another part of it. There aren't many horror shows that you get invested in. You know, there have been some good ones, but usually they only last 2 or 3 seasons. And this one didn't. It went on for a while. So yeah. So Adam's number 4 choice was
Stranger Things.
So we're past that. Excellent choice, by the way. Taylor, number 4.
All right. So my number 4 was either going to be The Simpsons or Futurama. And as much as I love The Simpsons, as influential as it is, as much as so many other shows that we're going to talk about probably owe something to it in one way or form, that thing has gone on way too fucking long. It's almost become a parody.
Futurama's the better show.
Futurama is the better show. I mean,
it totally
pound
is.
for pound, it's wittier, it's funnier. And the main reason it makes my list, though, is because this show has a surprising amount of heart. Like, they're out of the blue, they will throw in an episode like Fry's dog, or like where he like remembers his brother, and they will fucking nuclear strike your goddamn feels.
Like a Pixar movie, man. It's like a Pixar movie.
They oddly enough do share that quality, that like they are really, really good at being charming and disarming and everything, but they have like precision strikes on your goddamn heartstrings when they want to.
Yeah, you just had that picture ready.
Oh my gosh, it's heart-wrenching. Yeah, this show is a show that should have continued to go on, like The Simpsons. It actually, I think it came back for at least one season.
It came back a few times.
They brought it back a couple of times, yeah. And I'm honestly glad that they ended it where they did. You know, you don't want to end up like The Simpsons, where it's basically it's reanimated corpse at this point. You know, Futurama went off on another really good emotional episode, and I'm glad that that can be the end of it. But yeah, Bender is iconic. They managed to spoof or send up or otherwise just make really good commentary on so many different things. They lampoon entertainment itself in a lot of different episodes in really good ways, like what Bender shouldn't be on TV or something like that. It's just a damn good show.
Yeah. No, I agree 100%. It's a good show. I don't know what other animated show I would put above.
That's not my last animated show, but let's keep going.
Yeah, I'm not sure. All right, Eli, you're up number 4.
My number 4, just because Different Strokes.
Seriously?
Right, really?
I grew up on the shit. I don't care.
No, I don't give a shit.
Go for it, man.
The best fucking answer ever.
That's
what's you talking about, Eli?
One of the best things about TV is
exactly.
personal to people.
Oh, I'm thinking Facts of Life. I'm thinking 2 different. Okay, yeah.
Which was a spinoff of fucking Different Strokes.
It is.
No,
That's
out of all of the white savior sitcoms from the 80s, this was easily my favorite.
Yeah, the ethnic child with the white family. Yeah, this was Webster. You know.
Oh man.
Yeah, I was so into the show as a kid. I watched it, and then when it went into syndication, it was on like every day after school. I'd watch it, and knew the song, and had a hots for Kimberly. Rest in peace, Dana Plato.
Everybody did.
Everybody got fucked up from the show. The child stars all became
Ty Bridges start robbing people.
Yeah, fucking criminal underground gangsters and shit that spawned the show.
Dana Plato is actually like a video game icon, because remember, she was on Night Trap, and that game got banned, and that's where the censorship rating came from.
I
that and Mortal Kombat.
Both of those at the same time. Yeah.
But there was also that. I don't know if you guys remember back in the 80s, there was I can't remember what it was called, but it was like a video game show where it was like a competitive video game show, like what they got on, the league shows. And they would be celebrities. And Todd Bridges was like champion. He was like playing Burger Time, champion like the old school of like video games.
Space Force, Force, Starcade.
Something like that. And like, And I
half-assed remember that.
Burger Time.
I don't remember.
They're playing. Yeah, they were playing like all those old school arcades.
Being good at it though. Is that who you mean? Todd Bridges, Willis?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Todd Bridges was on that video game show and kicking ass.
Good for him.
Okay.
No, that's not a bad pick. I don't know.
It's just something I grew up
in
on.
the 80s.
Yeah. It's hard to like pinpoint, what to throw on here, but I gotta say, out of all the, my childhood, favorite shit, and as far as sitcoms, Family Ties is cool. Shit, the Cosby Show almost got on here.
Y'all remember Silver Spoon? I remember Silver Spoon.
I remember Silver Spoon.
That was a good white savior sitcom too, because. Well, yeah, they were all
Punky
white.
Brewster, the same thing.
Yeah, Punky Brewster had white savior. But it was like a white savior. I mean, they were rubbing it in your face that this rich white man has to save this underprivileged youth. You need to have this capitalist daddy. Never mind.
I mean, it's little orphan Annie. That's all. It's the same thing.
It is.
Warbucks.
You're right. It is.
And that was the 80s. I mean, the 80s was all the me generation and, and the yuppies, and everyone was trying to get rich and, and of course they had to alleviate their guilt by helping out the poor folk. So.
Yeah, or at least talking about it in sitcoms. At least pretending.
Do you guys remember the 80s episode of Futurama? That was a good one too.
Yeah. Going back. A good choice.
But also different strokes dealt with social issues at the time.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Are you gonna bring up that one episode? You're gonna bring up that one episode, aren't you? Yep. I know which one you're talking about. That was a fucked up episode.
Where did you touch me on the doll episode? Is that the one?
Talking about where Dudley,
the kid from Friday the 13th, was on it.
Yeah.
Yes,
Dudley got molested by the bike salesman. And,
yeah.
And and that guy, I can't remember his name, sorry, but he played Reggie the Reckless in Friday the 13th Part 5. But also drinking and drug. Todd lost one of his friends, got killed in a drunk driving accident.
That's true.
It went deep. It went hard drama sometimes.
I mean, really, it was like one of the first TV shows that had like those very special episodes. I don't remember anything before.
Yeah, epilepsy. One of their friends had a seizure in front of them, and they freaked out. Then it turns out Pearl, their maid who replaced Mrs. Garrett, I really know this show.
I was about to say,
the lore.
Shit, this is
fandom. The mythology of different strokes. Anyway,
we are getting into the weeds here,
yeah. I'm taking it balls deep, motherfuckers.
This motherfucker's gonna write a PhD.
Yeah, but anyways, one of the maids had epilepsy.
Were the strokes different?
Yeah, they're just
really was the ball.
We're all the same. The messages were all the same.
It's coming up,
that is coming up.
So yeah, right, different strokes.
Good choice.
Number
sorry,
4.
I talk shit, but yeah.
Number 4, fuck y'all.
A lot of the 80s shows fell into tropes that are just very difficult to grab onto nowadays.
I mean, you could even do that with you mentioned Archie Bunker. I mean,
right.
Motherfuckers would freak out if they saw All in the Family.
It's hard to go back.
Yeah, it's tough.
I mean, going on what you were talking earlier, it's hard to go back with fucking Price is Right,
Yeah.
Right.
Even something relatively benign.
Bob Barker was getting a sexual harassment lawsuit every other week on that show.
My lady dug into that. Yeah, that shit needs a movie. Bob Barker, that's a movie. All right, never mind. Moving on. Leroy.
Okay.
Number 4.
Boom. Community.
That's actually my number 3. So
my number 2.
Now I do want to say one thing.
Adam doesn't have any choices left.
I got one. I got my last one.
Okay. Now I do want to say
what are the odds of no one saying your number 1 at this rate, though?
Yeah, right.
You're not gonna say my number 1. I mean, I know my number 1 is gonna be nobody's pick, but yeah. Awesome characters. Abed, Troy, Jeff. I love how this show not only like subverted tropes of movies, but subverted tropes of TV shows, even like other NBC shows. Because like the leading man supposed to be like this, and that. Jeff was a complete asshole. Nobody liked him. You had Annie. It was just the characters was awesome. The episode, some of the episodes are my favorite episodes of any TV show ever. Like
me too.
Modern Warfare, the episode where the paintball episode.
That's
was directed
all
by
the paintball episodes are fantastic.
Yeah.
The first one was directed by Justin Lin.
Yes, it was.
Of the Fast and Furious, and the other ones were directed by the Russo brothers. Which actually got them the job for Marvel.
Well, after Arrested Development,
right? But Marvel saw those episodes.
This was their big success, though. This was
their big success. So they saw they were like, we need these guys. Yeah.
This show might have the most impressive pedigree of people who worked behind the camera as well as in front of it. They got some really big names to drop by quite a lot.
Yeah. Favorite episodes? Contemporary American Poultry, the Goodfellas episode.
The Goodfellas one.
I don't remember.
The thing was that and Modern Warfare were like right by each other. So if you're watching like one season right after, you're like, oh man, this show was like really getting good. I almost feel like the show peaked, or you could say jumped the shark after season 1 because those episodes were so good. I don't know how the show could ever recover after that.
I don't know.
They were still good episodes.
I don't know. I think it was still good after that. It was definitely when season 4 was when it really dipped in quality. And that's when the creator was kicked off, wasn't it?
Yeah, he was kicked off. Yeah. But I always felt like in those later seasons they were trying to recapture the glory of the stuff they've already done. And sometimes I don't think they hit the point, even though they were still good. But when those like that first season is just legendary, just the stuff.
You're right.
And plus, the characters didn't feel like they were becoming characters of themselves. They felt like real people in that first episode. I mean, the first season, even the second one also.
Yeah.
But here's the funny thing about the Yahoo series. Nobody talks about the Yahoo season.
Yeah.
It was actually pretty good.
The Yahoo season is actually pretty good.
The Yahoo season
they had Keith David in that season.
Keith David was in it,
for like the whole season.
And they made fun of like, are you replacing Troy? Or are you replacing Chevy Chase? We don't know which one.
Yeah.
And the influence, because that Yahoo season, they had that episode about the Karate Kid.
Yeah,
it did. And that was before they had the Cobra Kai series, but it touched up on everything that the Cobra Kai series does, but also the influence. I mean, we had Miles Morales, Donald Glover dressing up as Spider-Man.
Came from this, season 2. He dressed up as Spider-Man,
that's what No, this is the dope show.
One thing I want to say: the 6th season,
that shit was crazy.
The darkest timeline.
The Dark Timeline wanted probably their best episode.
Remedial Chaos Theory. It's literally the one that everybody understands the most. Or at least gets within the references that it makes in itself in pop culture with the multiverse and shit like that.
But that's the thing, this is a show about a community college, and it dips into the multiverse and sci-fi stuff like that, but makes it relatable and realistic. You like, the Dungeons and Dragons episode.
I don't
even know.
You can't watch that episode now.
Yeah, you can't watch that episode now. It's been taken off.
Fuck cancel culture.
Because what's his name? Paints his skin black as a dark elf.
Yeah.
And they make a joke about it being racist.
They rated
the
about
exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
We're gonna ignore that hate crime or whatever.
But that episode is about depression and loneliness.
Yeah.
Right.
And
they missed the whole thing about that.
Yeah, dude. G.I. Jeff is probably my favorite episode of the entire series.
Because he's having a midlife crisis.
Fantastic episode.
It's WandaVision.
Commercials.
It's WandaVision.
It's WandaVision. It's literally in my notes, dude. It's WandaVision. Yeah, this show is fucking amazing. I go back to it all the time. And the reason I love it so much is because I said earlier, all these shows sort of establish their own context, and this show does establish its own context, but it's sort of like Magic the Gathering. If I could use that analogy, Magic the Gathering has a set of rules, and on the cards are mechanics that break those rules, and that's how you play the game. That's how this show worked. It had its own context, but then every episode, depending on what the context was, what piece of pop culture they were riffing off of, the rules changed. But it didn't matter because we could follow, because we already knew what they were riffing off of. Pillows and Blankets.
The Blanket Fort episode.
It's the Blanket Fort, a Civil War like a Ken Burns documentary. Oh, dude, it's just so great and so.
Oh, you're talking about the documentary. I was talking about the one where they did the blanket.
You're talking about the first episode, and then you're talking about the second episode.
Yes, that's the conspiracy theories one, which is also fucking wonderful.
Yeah,
but
Professorson.
Yeah, Professorson. He's like, I didn't. Yeah, great.
A class called Learning. We could just do a whole podcast just on
Dude, we could our top 5 community episodes. No shit. All right, moving on. Adam, I think we're up to number 3. That was my number 3.
My number 3 was Supernatural.
Awesome. Excellent choice. Supernatural. They're so dreamy here. Look how beautiful they are.
I've never seen Supernatural. People told me to, but I never saw it.
Well, you're a horror fan. I think you'd
like it.
Yeah, that's what people were saying. There's like monsters and shit, and
there's so much of it though, man.
It's old now, so it probably looks like shit.
I did see the car at a con.
Nice.
I saw the car at a con.
The show's made it big when the car is like one of the most iconic cars to come from any TV
The car had its own episode, and it's one of my favorite episodes. The car had its own episode. Yeah. All right, Taylor, number 3.
All right, so Star Trek was making it on here somewhere. The only question was which one. Yeah. And for me, it's going to be Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Excellent. Star Trek is actually
every Star Trek show ever on.
That's my list. Every Star Trek show
which Star
ever.
Trek? Yes.
Yes.
Well, I mean, any Star Trek's a good Star Trek in my book, but Next Generation is the best of the bunch. It's an upgrade of the original series in almost every way. The acting is better. The storylines are better. The special effects are obviously much, much better.
The fake science is great.
There are so many shows that just basically rip off the Next Generation whole hog in order to just exist in the first place, like Stargate or like Babylon 5 or like.
And if they don't,
any of these.
They steal an element, a trope or a sci-fi element that is just, the audience accepts it because Star Trek did it first.
Now, I don't know if this is true
standard that you go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know if this is true or not, but I'm hearing that Avengers Endgame was stolen from a Star Trek next episode. I don't know, or if it was the Next Generation or another episode, but it was stolen something from Star Trek.
Well, they time traveled a whole lot in Star Trek, and that's been.
That could be like 3 or 4 episodes, honestly, but like.
Okay,
But this is the standard bearer for sci-fi shows, and it's honestly one of the best group ensembles that I've ever seen from any show. I mean, there's so many characters that build up chemistry that like have
romances.
The philosophy of Data's very existence, and it's good when you see a Geordi episode or a Worf episode or a Troy episode.
Yeah. All of the shows on my list have one similar thing in common, and it's called the found family trope. It's a bunch of strangers who get together from one circumstance or another, and eventually, by the time the show is, as you're, following along with them, they become a family, and you are adopted in. And that's why Star Trek it's my number 2. I actually have Voyager as my number 2. But it's difficult to compare Star Treks because they are so very similar. But everything Taylor said is 100% on point about the Next Generation. I only bring up the found family trope because, to me, Voyager feels like my family more so than, the crew of the Enterprise did. But yeah, man, there's absolutely no way.
I mean, I genuinely don't think you can go wrong with Star Trek. I mean, even Enterprise isn't like the worst thing I've ever seen.
I like all Trek. There's a movie called Fever Pitch. I don't know if anyone's seen it. It's Drew Barrymore and Jimmy Fallon.
I've seen that.
Yeah, I love that movie. It's about a guy who really loves the Red Sox. He was taken to the Red Sox games when he was a little kid by his uncle after his dad died, and it's just something that's always been with him. And at one point in the movie, he says, "Is there anything that you've loved as long as I've loved the Red Sox?" Star Trek was the first thing my dad and I ever did together. When the Next Generation came on, I was there at the very premiere episode. And yeah, I was like 11, maybe 12. But when Wesley Crusher took a step onto the bridge and I saw, holy shit, there's a little kid now, on the boat. after watching, the original series for all those years with my old man, yeah, dude, I have never loved anything as long as I've loved Star Trek. Nothing has been with me that long. And that's only my number 2. So just imagine,
I mean, Star Trek, this is less true for Next Generation, more just like Star Trek is a franchise, but it's a franchise that matters because it's about optimism. It's about the indomitable nature of the human spirit, and that maybe we're always going to be imperfect, but we can be better. And that's something that we can strive for.
And the great thing about it is it shows our imperfections while also showing how we can be better. You know what I mean? It doesn't just present us with a problem. It shows that we can overcome that problem. And a lot of science fiction doesn't do that. It just says we can address the problem or we can look at the problem. No, Star Trek looks at the problem and then fixes it. And then even has some episodes where it doesn't fix it to show you that, no, sometimes you can't fix problems, which is another lesson all in itself.
Well, I mean, at its core, Star Trek is about moral quagmires and ethical dilemmas. That's why it has this timeless quality, because we'll always struggle with those. Even when we've mastered like light speed travel and can go anywhere and have this miraculous technology at our fingertips, we will always struggle to do the right thing.
Yeah. As long as we struggle to do anything, we will always, struggle to do the right thing. And I love that. And as much as I could go on about Community with Leroy and Eli, Taylor and I could go on twice as long about Star Trek just because there's so much more of it. But moving on. Are we still on number 3? We're moving right along. Eli.
3. Okay, yeah. It almost didn't make my list, but then I had to keep it real. I got The Simpsons on here.
Nice.
Yeah, even though I haven't watched
it.
Yeah, even though I haven't watched it in a good 10, 15 years. In its day, mainly the 90s, basically seasons 2 to like 7 or 8, when it was at its peak, this was the shit. Yeah. This was funny. Yeah. It was hilarious. It, it influenced so much. It's ingrained in our culture. It's ingrained in our zeitgeist of, and it makes all these predictions that keep happening.
It's crazy. It's so crazy how it does that. Yeah.
For me, it was a modern day Looney Tunes. Homer Simpson's he's a Wile E. Coyote. He's a moron. He's an idiot, but he's got a lot of heart.
Loser.
Yeah,
he does.
Yeah. And
I mean, at his core, Homer's a good guy, even if he is a bumbling idiot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I am. Sometimes I am old enough to remember the Tracy Ullman Show.
Yeah, I remember that too.
That's where it started there, also. Yeah,
I remember seeing the movie War of the Roses in the theater, and they tacked on a Simpson. Short from the Tracy Ullman Show before the movie started. I thought that was pretty cool.
In a weird way, this show actually kind of made Americans take animation more seriously.
Yes,
because it wasn't.
Did it?
It did because it was like in the 90s,
like an adult comedy animation.
Yeah, because like when we were just talking about Akira last episode, we were talking on that.
There'd be no Family Guy. There'd be no Futurama. There'd be no any of the cartoon.
I mean, Family Guy has itself acknowledged that it's basically a ripoff of The Simpsons.
Yeah, it's a harder.
It's canon that like Family Guy is ripping off.
That was a whole South Park episode. Simpsons did it. We can't do anything because Simpsons already did it.
Yeah.
But as much as Simpsons has probably dragged on for too long at this point, it has an unimpeachable place in the pantheon of American pop culture.
Yeah, and I was just gonna say, Leroy has this penchant for the James Bond movies. He loves the fucking James Bond movies. I don't get it. They're okay, but that's fine. But the one great thing about the James Bond movies is they're almost like a snapshot of popular culture in the moment that movie was made. You can really get a sense for what's going on in the world of entertainment if you watch a James Bond movie from that year.
And the political era also, but
exactly, and politics, sure. Yeah. The Simpsons is the exact same thing, man.
Well, The Simpsons has this interesting position where it's been around for so long now that stuff that they were doing at the beginning is viewed so radically different to today. And that's both on the episode itself and the behind the camera stuff. Apu was not a character that registered in a lot of people's sensibilities towards the beginning, but it's been around long enough that culture has changed enough around it where that's become problematic. And it's kind of funny to think
evolving. But the show is evolving to stay relevant, and that's just another aspect of how it fits into pop culture. It's already been approved for 2 more seasons. You know, we're gonna get 2.
When it got started, like
2 more seasons.
all the Puritans were out there, like tearing their hair out over like the antics they got up to. But it's gotten to the point now where they're viewed as one of like the more morally upright sitcom families. They're like one of the only ones that still like goes to church every Sunday,
Cis white male, cis white female, just normal kids. Yeah, it's like the typical, they go to church. I read an article the other day, half of people don't go to church in America anymore, or don't even, call themselves.
The Simpsons do.
The Simpsons do. How about that? How culture has changed around the Simpsons to the point where the first few years it appeared, the evangelical right was boycotting it. Now they look to The Simpsons as a model.
God damn it, Taylor.
I'm just saying,
you brought this back.
That's insane to me, man.
Sorry.
That's insane to me. Sorry.
That they're full of shit.
Exactly. They're all full of shit. Exactly.
Shit. Yeah. Suck Lil Nas's dick, bitches.
Oh, man. Man, the Lil Nas X thing happened after this last episode of The Bullies, didn't it?
I didn't. No, it happened. I didn't want to talk about it. I'm just gonna just leave this alone.
Excellent choice, The Simpsons.
Yeah, and it's just like I said, I haven't watched it in a long time, but in its day, I had like multiple VHS recording, like the full 6 hours of Simpson tapes. Multiple,
dude, I had the Simpsons. Simpsons had a fucking album back in the day that I had to rush to the record store to get. I had the "Don't Have a Cowman" Bart Simpson T-shirt where he's on his skateboard and has a slingshot, literally a weapon of destruction that are banned in most states now, in his back pocket. Yeah, dude.
My brother had.
Does anybody have a favorite episode?
He had
my favorite episode. I don't know the name of it, but it's the one where Homer gets a gun.
That's a good one.
That's a great episode, man.
I don't remember the name of it, but I like the one where they go to Tokyo.
The monorail one's is good too.
First one that pops in my mind
is one of the best ones.
Yeah. The Michael Jackson episode.
Nice.
Which I think also been banned also.
Yeah. I think it might have. Yeah.
Which it actually was Michael Jackson voicing the character. However, he wasn't allowed to sing because of his record contract saying he couldn't sing, so they got an impersonator to sing the song, the Lisa It's Your Birthday song. So
because he was on Atlantic, right? And Atlantic was
Sony or something. I can't remember. It was something.
Yeah, it was something that Fox didn't own the whatever.
Yeah.
Dude, their ex-presidents have been on this show. I mean,
the one with George Bush moves across the street.
Yeah. Did the Simpsons invent the Halloween episode?
Oh yeah,
the Treehouse of Horrors. Those are my favorite episodes.
In general, like it's a trope now.
It's the most iconic iteration of like the Halloween episode.
Yeah, because Community does it every year. I mean,
everybody does it now. Everybody has a Halloween episode now. Yeah. The Simpsons definitely helped make Halloween cool. It's
also a good way to keep track of what season we're on now, because it's always like Treehouse of Horror 32 or whatever.
Yeah. One year they skipped one. They skipped 1 year.
Those bastards.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Moving on.
I don't know. One of them was, I gotta think, my favorite episodes is the one where Bart is working for the brothel.
Oh
yeah.
Yeah. No, that's got a great meme where Grandpa walks in and hangs his hat.
Hangs his hat. The pretzel episode where Marge is selling the pretzels, and then she starts working for Fat Tony. And it's like a mob war between her and like Lovejoy's wife, and they hire the Yakuza. And
it's so wild. Dude, they've done everything. Yeah. But you said the Simpsons keep predicting everything. Well, no shit. There's millions of hours of Simpsons now. Of course they're going to predict everything.
This is basically an infinite monkeys at infinite typewriter situation.
Where, like, Shakespeare.
There's enough material out there that all of it's going to happen eventually now, you know?
All right, what are we up to? Are we still on are we on number 2?
No, we're number 3. Yeah.
Oh, okay. No, are you sure?
I can't, because I haven't said my number 3.
What's your number 3? What's your number 3?
My number 3
is trying to skip you, Leroy.
Yeah, I see that. You thought I'm gonna pick Mama's Family or some shit? All right. Number 3 is The Office.
Oh, dude, nice.
Yeah. I'm gonna put The Office on there. I mean, what else is there to say about The Office? As far as characters on TV, it's probably like my favorite group of characters on there. You feel like you get to know these people.
Yeah.
Like I said, Michael Scott probably the best leading man of any TV, sitcom that I can think of. Just because the dumb shit he always does, but he always does just enough to be like, maybe he's not as dumb as we think he is. You just start knowing Jim. like I said, Jim and Pam whole thing. Normally, when the two office romances get together, it gets boring after that. I thought Jim and Pam actually kept going, especially since they start having problems in their marriage. We got to see that stuff. I thought it was pretty interesting.
Like they are one of the few TV couples that does survive getting together. That's absolutely true.
Yeah. Dwight is an interesting character because he was just like
the show. The show was always about Dwight. Dwight was the thing that who the show was about. If we follow it all the way through to its end, because it's him and Angela. We see them getting together for the first time at Jim's party, and then throughout, sure, he's the guy in the office, but to me, it's all about him. He gets everything he wants at the end because he busts his fucking ass to get it, and that's what you got to do in this world.
That's one interpretation of that show.
I liked how this show was like politically incorrect on purpose. It was like anti-cancel culture, but kind of pro-cancel culture.
Yeah, you couldn't do The Office now.
You can't do The Office today, man. You can't do this shit today.
Yeah, one time where was it Stanley brought what's his name? The little white guy. What the hell's his name?
Ryan.
Yeah, all the black guys, and he was making fun of him. He's like, hi. And he was just laughing at him the whole car ride.
My favorite bit with Stanley was the sexual harassment episode where Michael's like, look at that hot picture he's got. And he's like, that is my daughter. Dude, you can't do shit like that anymore.
The one where he cursed out Michael, that was the funniest thing that Stanley ever did.
Did I stutter?
Oh man,
I've seen every episode of The Office multiple times. It's fucking wonderful. My favorite sitcom. I love it.
Surprisingly, did not make my list, but it was on my list. Didn't make the top 5 though.
Nice.
Was this
Golden
the first...
Girls beat it? Or...
Yeah. No, was this the
Brewster,
first
like you said?
What's it called? The interview docu.
I think so. I think this did it. The mockumentary. I think it did.
This definitely started that style because Parks and Rec came after this. Modern Family was after this. Yeah.
A lot of shows just do this now.
That. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and with no
but at least The Office had a reason to do it. A lot of shows just do it just to do it. Don't even know why
they do it because of The Office,
You know The Office is an important cultural show when WandaVision is spoofing it for an episode.
Yeah, basically. Exactly. Yeah.
WandaVision is a good tally card of all the shows that
it all comes back to WandaVision, which is all Mephisto. So
you have no idea how I was to put WandaVision on my list, but too
if it was multiple seasons, we could talk about it, but just one season,
Yeah.
No, don't it's okay for a series to be one season and still make this list, and I'm gonna prove it in a minute.
Oh shit.
I have number 2, but it was Star Trek Voyager. But Adam's number 2 was
Community because it was.
Oh shit, Firefly! I forgot about Firefly.
See, it's not Firefly. It's not.
No, I'm thinking about myself now.
Right. Taylor,
my number 2 was Community. It was just my favorite sitcom.
Nice. Yeah. Very good. So we had
Trek. I told you
we had Community. Is it Korra?
I told you I was not done with cartoons. It's not Korra. It's at Last Airbender, motherfucker. Now, I like Korra, but Last Airbender is the perfect cartoon.
It is.
It's got great action. It's got great mythology. It's got endearing characters. It's genuinely funny. It's well-written character.
Depth.
Yeah. All these characters have compelling character arcs. Even the comedy relief character like Sokka has way more depth than most characters on most other shows. I can't think of an episode of this where I wouldn't sit down and watch it beginning to end as soon as I saw that it was on, there's no disposable episodes. Characters behave in reasonable ways. None of them ever have to act like an idiot in order for the plot to move forward, which is something that separates it from something like Korra, where Korra had to act like a goddamn idiot at the beginning of the second season in order for there to be a plot.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. No, I like Airbender. I'm a fan of Korra as well, but The Last Airbender is.
Well, I like Korra. Korra's a really good show, but
just call it Avatar. Fuck James Cameron.
You just got sued, Eli, just for
that. But Korra's greatest
Disney money now.
Korra's greatest detriment is that it has to live in the shadow of this show, and this show is fucking amazing. It's as damn close to flawless as any other show I can think of.
It is. My son was super into the show when he was little. He loved it. I had to go see that M. Night Shyamalan movie like 3 times because of that.
Oh, I'm so sorry, man.
He loved the movie because he loved the show. I mean, he was like, what, 5, 6 years old at the time? But I enjoyed watching this with them. It was like, I'm a martial arts fan. I love watching kung fu movies. This was basically taking kung fu mythology and putting it in a little kid's cartoon show. Yeah, I loved it. I thought it was pretty cool. And I got to admit, the episode, but where, you know, the little one-shot short where we find out about Iroh's son, I got choked up and shit. I was like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah, this show strikes every right chord. And yeah, Zuko is an amazing character.
Zuko is probably my favorite character on the show as well. He has the best character arc for sure, although I would actually say Azula is the best character because she is the best villain from anything.
Yeah, that's true.
She's up there with a solid villain in terms of like flawless villains, you know?
Yeah.
Zuko was what Anakin should have fucking been.
Yeah.
But he wasn't.
Sure.
Yeah.
Excellent choice.
What are we on? 2?
Number 2, right?
Number 2, X-Files.
Good choice.
I was really into the show. This was probably my Supernatural. I, you know, being into horror, I was really super hardcore into this show. You know, the whole paranormal thing, and you know, growing up reading about UFOs and you know, cryptozoology and all that shit. This was right up my alley. But also, the show pushed boundaries that TV shows that we wouldn't have, like Walking Dead or any like the violence and that we see on TV wouldn't have happened if not X-Files hadn't pushed those boundaries. Because there's, you know, the episode of Home, they don't even air that anymore. It got banned. They aired it once and it got banned, and then you can only get it on, you know, now you can stream it, but they only aired it once, you know, because it freaked everybody out. And you know, so yeah, I was just super into the show. It did start sucking after a while, especially when when Mulder and Scully left. Yeah. But then they brought him back like a couple years ago. Those last 2 seasons weren't bad. You know?
They were fine. They couldn't recapture that magic.
Yeah, even though they retconned some of the mythology and stuff, like you know, but it still dealt with, you know, and that's what it did. It dealt with socio-political issues of its time, you know,
and it did it with like conspiracy theories. Yeah, you know, I really like that. I'm still, you know, kind of into. I don't believe anything of it. I just think they're fascinating. But I dig conspiracy theories. I think they're fun. There's Department of Truth. You know, it's a comic coming out right now. It's basically X-Files, you know, to the 10th degree. But this show really had a strong showing. Man, people love this because of football. Remember, this shit would come on after the NFL
on Sunday night.
Yeah. People would watch this after football, and that's what gave it all of its steam.
The Simpsons came on Sunday also.
It's true, but this helped. You know what I mean? Okay, imagine a Sunday night lineup where it's football, and then the Simpsons, and then the X-Files. I mean, that doesn't make any sense. People shouldn't be hanging out and watching the X-Files after the Simpsons. But I think that just speaks to the strength of the show. You know, it worked.
There was that Simpsons X-Files episode, which
yes. It's one of my favorite crossover.
I just thought he could lose some weight.
X-Files.
You
know?
Yeah, it's like a lava lamp.
Yeah, man, great show, and it's lasted a long, long time, and it's like a part of popular culture when it really, you know, I don't know. It's one of those shows that, yeah, it's great. It deserves to be there. And it's all kinds of pop culture,
and just the mythology too. When you find out, like, it was basically a monster of the week, but there was this mythology that they would dip into, like, throughout, you know, each season, you know.
Well, it was like usually a crime procedural. It was like a crime procedural.
You could say, though, that
like a buddy cop.
Like, I think it became clear after a while that they did not know where they were going. With like,
they knew the truth was out there. Oh yeah, you're right. With the show, yeah, they didn't know.
It was
the movies went to the aliens.
It was basically a Kolchak the Night Stalker ripoff, but they started dipping into the mythology about Mulder's parents and his dad working for the Syndicate and what the Syndicate was doing with the alien DNA, and then that whole thing, which was pretty cool. Then the alien bounty hunters and the I was really
Smoking
into
Man.
Cancer Man,
the Lone Gunman. I mean, this had a fucking spin-off show for a while, and 2 movies.
And 2 movies. And
I was really into this shit too, man.
It also had one of the most iconic bits of theme music to ever be played.
True.
You hear that and you know what's going on. Yeah.
So
awesome. Excellent choice.
Number 2. Yeah.
Yeah, I was really into that shit back in the day too.
I still got my Scully action figure.
Nice.
And I almost got her to sign it, but she was charging $80. I'm like, shit,
geez.
This thing's probably worth 40 if you even.
Yeah, right. Cool. Leroy.
Okay. Before I name that, I do want to see Frankie did say something about gay witch hunt on the Office episode.
Yes.
That kiss, unscripted. At the end. That's why he was so caught off guard with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So watch it again. You'll see that it was completely improvised. They didn't know it was coming. So anyway.
Awesome.
Number 2, Chappelle Show.
Oh, nice.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, honestly, it was a period in the 2000s where you could completely just make Dave Chappelle quotes to each other and you would understand everything that was going on.
Yeah, you could have whole conversations with people just
Rick James,
Dave
bitch.
Chappelle quotes, and you would understand what they were saying.
Right.
What if whole fingers say to mouth? Slap!
Unity. Yeah.
Probably one of the best sketch shows of all time.
I would say easily the best sketch show, man. And at least pound for pound. I know there's like 70 years. You know, it's like a Captain America run of Saturday Night Live. But man, pound for pound, In Living Color didn't get close to the shit that Chappelle was. He was pushing buttons, and he didn't just push buttons to push buttons. He pushed buttons because his bosses told him not to push buttons. You know what I mean? The owners of the show, the Comedy Central folks were like, no, we don't want you to push buttons. He's like, okay, I won't. And then he went and did it.
Right.
I love the Wayne Brady episode.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Because he had to bring Wayne Brady on because of Paul Mooney.
Oh, shit, it's Wayne Brady. Break yourself.
Oh, man, that's awesome.
Oh, and the Prince thing, that was real.
Yeah.
That really happened. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Eddie Murphy has come out and said, yeah, that should happen.
I remember, like, I used to work at a bar at a club, and one of the slow nights was like Tuesdays or whenever the Chappelle Show came on, and we actually were watching it one night, and that was when we saw the Rick James episode. So I watched that first time in a bar with a bunch of drunks, and we were laughing our asses off. It was hilarious.
Love that.
Rick James, Charlie Murphy.
He made us pancakes.
Yeah, Charlie Murphy was great during all those bits.
No, that story about basketball is a great story. All right? I mean, it's one of the best stories ever. But then at the end, he's like, and then he made us pancakes. I mean, that just makes it like, what? Just that one sentence makes it just so much better. It's like,
what was that one game show? The I Know Black People.
Yeah, he had a dude who worked at a Korean market.
Yeah, they had that one college professor that was getting all the answers right. He's like, well, Big Daddy Kane would say pimpin' ain't easy.
Yeah, because he was like in African American studies or something.
It's pimpin' easy. Yeah.
Yeah. What is a Lucy? Yeah. Shit's great.
Is it for oral sex? No, but maybe we should start saying that.
All right. Excellent choice. I've actually rewatched all of that shit recently. Like everything we've said. Well, except Eli's.
X-Files?
Different Strokes. I can't even find Different Strokes.
It was on Hulu for a while. It actually, it is hard to get through nowadays, but
my number one is a weird one because my main thing isn't TV. My main thing isn't movies. My main thing is comics. And the greatest comic ever made is Watchmen. And the greatest TV show ever made is the sequel to that comic. 2019 American superhero drama on HBO. It's a sequel to the 86 DC comic series of the same title, created by creator and Dave Gibbons. The TV series was Damon Lindelof, who I didn't think there was a bigger Watchmen fan than me, but obviously he is. Regina King, Don Johnson, Tim Blake Nelson, Yaha Abdul Mateen II, Andrew Howard, Jacob Ming Trent. I could go on and on. The great Jeremy Irons, the amazing Lou Gossett Jr. Yeah, I consider Watchmen, the graphic novel, to be the greatest piece of graphic fiction ever written. And this is presented in the same sort of way, but for television. The way Watchmen uses, tricks that are inherent to comic books, where the backgrounds change color, word balloons change design, the 9-panel layout that only breaks when, something important happens. The Watchmen TV show was filmed basically the same way, where things change only when they have to, only when it's trying to point out something to you that's very important.
And overall, I think we got more out of the show watching it because we know the history, we know the backstory of it. Like, this is one of those shows you kind of have to know the source material.
You're because not going to appreciate
I
it
think
as
it
much.
holds up reasonably well without it, but yeah, you definitely get a lot more from.
You get a lot more from it because I had a lot of people asking me, like tons of people asking me questions. Well, what is this? What is this? Because they don't source material. They just figured I did, so I had to let them know ahead of time. This is going to happen. This is going to happen. This is that guy, and they got more out of it. Because so that's who that guy is. That's who Dr. Manhattan and Ozymandias and all stuff like that. So yeah,
the episode, I think it's the second to last episode of the series. It's called "A God Walks Into a Bar," and you're not going to get anything from that episode except the things you need to understand the episode that comes after it. If you have not read, watch, because it's all about how Dr. Manhattan experiences all time simultaneously. And the way this episode reflects that. All right, if you watch that episode and then read that chapter where the Dr. Manhattan, issue of Watchmen, for example, there's in Watchmen, he says, she is handing me a cold frothy beer. In that episode, God Walks Into a Bar, he's doing that same thing, but he's buying Angela a beer. And it goes almost frame for frame like that. And not really frame for frame because they're telling different stories, but just the way they jump around, the characters they jump around to, the way they flash back and flash forward because it's Dr. Manhattan to different parts of the story. And that's just one example of one episode. This right here, this was the first piece of promotion that they put out for Watchmen. This is a spoiler for the very last second of this series.
She becomes the new Dr. Manhattan. Spoiler alert, yeah.
Her name is Angela. Angela in the original rephrasing is messenger of God. That's what her name means. Why did they go with Angela? Everything is on purpose. I think that's why I like this so much, because it's a sequel to Watchmen. It honors Watchmen, but it also makes those characters better. It fleshes them out without going so far as to change their inherent natures. But it does that to every aspect of it. It does it to the times. What's important to talk about? While Watchmen, in the context of the real world, was talking about nuclear war, Watchmen, the TV show, was talking about racism, which was in the 80s. That was the most important thing. Now, times have changed. Racism is the most important thing, especially when Watchmen came out. I could go on and on. I could do a full hour.
And it goes deep. I mean, it goes deep into racism that, especially coming from a perspective that people of color would understand. And that's, credit to white savior Damon Lindelof for hiring a bunch of black and colored writers for the show to bring in that perspective. But
it says a lot about both this show and our culture that most people had never heard of the Black Wall Street Massacre before.
Sure. Most people thought they made it up for the show.
Yeah,
they thought it was something to show.
That shocked a lot of people.
Yeah,
and I remember the first episode. I'm like, hey, these guys are ripping off Bitterroot. Like,
you're right. Finish that thought, Eli.
But no, I think what's amazing about this show is it wasn't supposed to work. The idea, like,
I hated the idea of this
yes,
shit.
everybody was like, a Watchmen sequel to the Watchmen with different characters made in a modern day. Fuck this shit. Everybody's like wrote it off like it wasn't going to be nothing, and it turned out to be one of the greatest, like you said, one of the greatest shows ever.
Well, everything else, I think we were right to believe that, because everything else that's Watchmen, that's not main Watchmen, that we've gotten has been shit. It's been crap.
That's like before Watchmen was bad. Yeah, the Watchmen movie
was bad.
I thought the Watchmen movie was okay, but after this show, that movie is completely blown out of the water by what this show managed.
This show is a fuck you to Zack Snyder. Specifically,
Zack Snyder missed the point. Zack Snyder did miss the point of most of those characters, man.
Because think about the very ending. He said, "Oh, I had to change the ending because a giant squid." Nobody would understand that. That's just stupid as hell. And what does the show do? Turn around and put a giant squid at the end of it. Just let you know that it does work in the context.
Literally
of the show.
has Ozzy continuing to drop tiny giant squids on everybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then there's, Ozymandias in his heaven in Europa, and all he can do is suffer through it, and he just wants to get out so bad. And there's all these reflections to where Ozymandias took his name from the Pharaoh. Pharaohs were gods. He's playing God, in the original Watchmen, and now this is God in paradise. This
just
is
being bored.
Just being so bored out of his mind. And I adore this show just as much as I adore the Watchmen comic. And it's just because I adore the Watchmen comic so much. And this did such a great job in honoring it, expanding on it, and being important, and just being damn good TV with amazing, cast, amazing everything. Everything about the show was done just spectacularly. So,
but they do not need a season 2.
No,
leave it alone.
The thing that makes this good is that there's only one season. Anything more, I don't care how great it is going to diminish this first season. Yeah, 100.
Like, there's so much about this show that, like, my instinct is to, kind of at least take a grain of salt with it. Like, it's very recent. They only did the one season. And, it was so ballsy of them to even attempt to do this in the first place. A property that has become a sacred cow for a lot of people who are part of that, sphere of influence. But they fucking nailed it. I can't really argue against this at all. They did a goddamn amazing job with it.
Anything Damon Lindelof does forever, I will always give it a chance now. Forever. That's what he's earned. You know what I mean? I will always give him a chance. So awesome. And I think one of the writers on this is busting into something new too. I read something, but awesome. What are we up to? We're on number 1.
Number 1.
We're finishing it up. Adam.
Yeah. So my number 1 is actually Breaking Bad.
Oh, wow.
Good. I'm glad that's on here.
Yeah, I really love this show. This from beginning to end, I think this is one of the best character studies for one single character from beginning to end, his evolution, his downward spiral, but it also kind of shows how society kind of lets him down too along the way. It's not just him bringing everybody else down, but I don't know. It's just a really fantastic, dark, but also really funny show that explores how this guy just becomes this huge drug kingpin at the very end. I don't know. Anybody else got anything to say about it?
You pointed out it's really amazing how he's a tragic figure in a lot of ways, but at the same time he's still not a sympathetic one because he really goes into the deep end. He really
by the end there is so one of the best things about this show is there is an exact point in this show where Walter White goes from being a sympathetic character to being a character that you just hate. And I think it's at that point, at that moment where he's in the bottom of the house looking for his money and he can't find it and he just kind of starts laughing and going crazy. That's that point. And that's what I love about this show is it has a character evolution from a beginning to a middle to an end. He starts at one point, and where he is in the beginning, where he's this dweeby dude standing in the middle of the desert in his underwear, to where he is at the end, where he has rigged this car to have a machine gun pop up to kill all these fucking what are they? Just
drug dealers,
redneck dudes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just crazy. He's a completely different character by the end of the show.
Yeah.
My favorite aspect of this show is he does this stuff out of necessity. He's diagnosed with cancer and he can't afford the treatment. He just wants to live.
This show would not happen in Canada.
Yeah, right. The thing about it is he doesn't really want to live for himself. He's such a selfless guy at the beginning. He even says it. And I've only seen like the first, 3 or 4 episodes of the first season. I stopped it for some reason and just never went back to it. But I really should.
So you didn't get to the part where he explicitly said that he did it for himself.
Well, that happens later, right?
That happens later.
Yeah, yeah. Like the second.
That's what I mean. That's part of the evolution. I mean, I know the story. I've kept up with, how it goes down, but I think that's just really compelling how it's like Falling Down, the movie Falling Down stretched out over, 5 seasons with drugs. That's just society just hits you so hard that you just got to hit back, and you have to be just as terrible as society is, right back. And it's tragic. It's tragic. I think that's why I haven't gone back to it. You guys know how I kind of dwell on terrible things.
I think when you watch this show, I think you would pop out, or you would see all the flaws in society that kind of led to this guy, doing what he had to do to survive.
Yeah,
I don't know.
No, excellent pick. A great show. I mean, this turned the guy who was the dad on Malcolm in the Middle,
Bryan Cranston,
biggest fucking badass ever.
That's one of my favorite go backs. There's this one, I don't even remember what it was in, but it's Bryan Cranston in bed with his wife from Malcolm in the Middle, and he wakes up and she's like, "Oh, what's going on?" And he goes, "Man, I had a dream. I was so mean."
And again, WandaVision, if we're gonna continue to talk about sitcoms, and
let's just put WandaVision on here, just be done with it.
Oh yeah.
I was so tempted. I really was.
It's a great choice.
So, it's been fun, guys. I actually have to run.
All right, Adam. Thank you so much for hanging out. He's got
good picks.
I got responsibilities.
Very good picks. Cool. Taylor, we're up to number 1. He almost made it all the way around. If I would have shut up about Star Trek.
I mean, it's Star Trek, but my number 1 is I Love Lucy.
Oh Jesus! Terrible.
Seriously?
You trolling.
I'm not. It's a good. It was made in the 1950s, but you can go back and watch that, and it'll still be a good time. It is the definitive sitcom.
WandaVision does take a little bit.
WandaVision does. There you go. We're using our WandaVision metric. This is one of the ones that it uses.
That's the face I'm making.
Because Wanda was definitely acting like Lucy in that first episode.
Yes.
Yeah. Gomer, you can seriously go fuck yourself.
You're right. You cannot deny.
You gotta go the woke angle. This is the first time we saw an interracial couple, motherfucker.
I was just about to say it. The first interracial couple. They wanted them to change it. They wanted to change it. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, Desi Arnaz was a big part of the show from the beginning. He was like the guy who was throwing it all together. So that's the only way they were able to get away with it. Is he was essentially the showrunner. And anything that remains in circulation for this long does so for a reason. It has a timeless quality. Yeah. It's still funny, even all these years later. How many iconic sketches come from the show that anyone would recognize at a glance? Lucy doing the chocolates, her doing the mirror thing with fucking Harpo Marx.
The Vegemite or whatever the hell.
Yeah, that. I can't even say it, but that's right. The gag. But her being out on the stoop with George Reeves.
I was about to say Superman was on there. Yeah.
This is a show that was able to bring in all the celebrities from its time because it was that fucking big. It was that fucking successful.
Man, I mean, I want to argue with you, but everything you're saying is right. And then there's these other angles to it. Like, this was a modern TV show. They developed technology and methods here, like the 3-camera process, that they didn't have on sitcoms at the time. And it became a standard, to have that way of filming.
I mean, I used the word
the first pregnancy
definitive.
Yeah.
This show is definitive in so many ways.
Yeah, basically, her kid was basically born on a fucking television show. Yeah.
Which was supposed to be like, they wasn't allowed to show that, it was banned, but they went ahead and did it anyway.
And also, I want to give the show some respect because Lucille Ball is the most courageous woman who's ever been in Hollywood, as far as I'm concerned. She did so much for so many people. in the business, including green lighting and fighting for a space western that was pitched by a man named Gene Roddenberry. Without Lucille Ball, there would be no Star Trek. And if there's no Star Trek, there's no Star Wars. If there's no Star Wars, there's no Mandalorian. If Disney doesn't buy Star or Lucasfilm, they probably don't buy Marvel. And then there's no WandaVision. So I've brought it all back. 360
with no Lucy, no WandaVision.
No Lucy, no WandaVision.
And you were bitching about his pick.
Yeah, they may have.
Yeah, whatever.
I may have ruined that. Still, dude, I made this.
It wouldn't have WandaVision anyway because that was like their intro was doing "I Love Lucy." Yeah. That and Dick Van Dyke, but like you know, even Dick Van Dyke was basically "I Love Lucy." You know.
Yeah. There's no way to argue that. Really, I want to, but I won't. Eli, number 1.
Community.
Nice. We've all said it.
Yeah. We can go on and on, but yeah, it's just it's a parody of sitcoms and
and popular culture and everything. Yeah, it's wonderful.
Yeah, brilliantly written. Even when Harmon got fired, it wasn't that bad, but it just makes meta reference. He even says, "Are you being meta again, Abed?"
Why do you have to stick everything up its own ass?
Yeah.
A lot of the sitcoms it's being making meta riffs on, though, wouldn't exist without "I Love Lucy." Just going to throw that out
there. That's it. We're having a bottleneck episode or whatever.
Another thing about all of those shows, or all of the characters on Community, the main characters, were sort of supposed to be like these tropes of characters. Like we had the old man, we have the black old lady, we have the jock, we have the cis white male, we have the woke white girl, we have the too smart for her own good young girl, and then we have Abed. Abed is a character that does not fit in a box, and I think he's sort of cutting edge in terms of putting disabled characters on TV. You know what I mean? Especially in a group where everybody was just so average and normal. He was the most normal one. Once we got to the end of the show, he was the guy who was dealing with life in the best way. And it was because of his adoration for sitcoms. Maybe I'm projecting a little bit, trying to make myself feel better for loving pop culture so much. But pop culture got him through life despite his disabilities.
Well, that's Dan
and it
Harmon.
gets me through my life, even without disabilities.
That's Dan Harmon. If you ever listen to Harmontown and his podcast, that's what he was Abed. He was the nerdy outcast that loved all comics and movies, and that's what got him through his crappy life that he had to go through. And that's what.
And that's the only way Abed knows how to communicate.
Yeah,
with anybody.
But do you remember the where they all took the psych evaluations? And it turns out that every one of them except one wasn't a psychopath, and it was Abed.
Yeah. And I think that's what that episode was saying. That normal people are fucking crazy. It's us, the nerds, the geeks, who are so passionate about these stories that sure might seem to be about superheroes and two brothers going and fighting demons and this Supergirl from this hidden secret place who hangs out with these kids from the projects or whatever. But these shows are not about that. These shows are about people and passion and love and giving a shit.
Yeah, giving us shit for
giving us shit, man.
Giving us shit for liking what we like, for not going out and trying to get laid and all this shit. When you look at all the bullshit and the effort and all the crap you got to go through to get laid.
Yeah,
you will do some shady ass shit to get laid. And,
and you can just go home and watch old
I'm just sitting here watching horror movies, man. That's all I'm doing.
I'm just going watching old Transformers episodes. Exactly. Having just as good of a time.
Yeah.
Awesome Community. All right, Leroy, that's gonna wrap with you.
Okay,
buddy.
Everybody's gonna hate my pick. I don't.
Well,
care.
I Love Lucy already came, so
I might have a beat. I don't know. We'll see. All right,
go fuck yourself.
My number one pick, Justice League Unlimited. I don't care. I don't care. I will watch this. That pick. I watch this show on repeat all the time. Don't care. When it went away from Netflix, I almost canceled my Netflix subscription. When it came on DC Universe, I bought it just to watch it over again. First off, DC the reason I'm putting Justice League Unlimited on there, not Just League Unlimited, two different shows. The reason I'm putting it on there because it's an accumulation of all the DC shows that came around the time. Batman animated series, Superman animated series, Static Shock, Batman Beyond. I'm probably missing some. So I wrapped up all the storylines in that show, put them in this one, had like 1 million characters, had everybody fleshed out. Still had the main characters in like Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, like the main characters on there. Superman, it had Lex Luthor, like the most Lex Luthorist ever on the show because he was completely fucking evil.
Very Lex Luthor on this.
Yeah. So they really want to have him on there. Everybody had the different characters on there. Even just like the characters they brought to the like Booster Gold, the Question made Question a damn near fan favorite in DC universe. He started popping up all of a sudden. He became a better detective than Batman. You know, shit, just so much stuff on this. All the enemies, all the villains, the Secret Society, the Legion of Doom. The storyline almost like a mixture of Watchmen and Kingdom Come. It was like a mixture of that at the end because it got to the point that because the Justice League became so powerful. Who could beat them? The only
it was a who watches the Watchmen sort of question.
They actually say it.
Batman actually says that. Yeah, the Green Arrow at the end.
Yeah, at the end of it because
I like this pick just because I love the Timverse. I love Batman the Animated Series. Love Batman Beyond. Love all those shows that you mentioned, and this does a great job bringing that all together.
Yeah,
but
if you watch the show, you ain't got to read DC.
Well, there's only one Batman on this show. Come on, man.
And the funny thing is, they originally wanted Batman to join Lex Luthor in that second season also, but then the writers were like, nah.
We can't do that to our biggest star.
But the thing was, Batman was almost like, okay, these Justice Leaguers are kind of fucked up. The shit that Superman's out of control. So I can almost see him going that way, especially the stuff that, it made Amanda Waller like a household name.
That's true. Yeah. You keep selling me, because what I want to say is no, Batman the Animated Series is 100 times better than this.
And
I still think that, but
I know,
and it almost made my list. But I'm getting Batman in this. That's why I'm putting this show because it's like it's giving me everything.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's so hard for me. I love Batman the Animated
Series
Batman
the Animated Series was almost there also, but I was like, okay, but it took steps to get here, so I'm giving it here. So if I got to pick one show out of this is shared universe, this is going to be the one because that's
solid reasoning. Yeah,
it is.
It's like the Timverse does have arguably the most iconic versions of all of these characters. Who doesn't read a Batman comic and listen to it in Kevin Conroy's voice? Who doesn't hear Mark Hamill's Joker doing the laugh
every time, man? Eli, anything
Clancy Brown on
Lex Luthor?
Fuck yeah.
Oh my god,
best version of Lex Luthor too,
dude.
McCloud. No.
And even just the very end of it, Darkseid, when they was fighting Darkseid on there, and Superman just beat the shit out of him with I live in a world of cardboard where everything feels like I'm about to break. But you can take it, can't you, big man? And then he just start beating the shit out of him. That was like one of my favorite TV moments.
Is that the one with the Supergirl fight too?
No. That was one of those movies. So. That was one of those movies.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's one of those. Same animation. It's hard. It gets mixed up. There's so much DC animation.
But this was Bruce Timm.
I know. Yeah.
So much DC animation that came after it. This is the yardstick that they measure up to. What's the Bruce Timm version of these characters?
Yeah, I think Leroy having anything Timverse on this list is a solid idea because it doesn't matter which one it is. It all led to everything that came after. And DC's animated shit is the best animated shit. I mean, there's no argument. You can argue, Eli want to be a smart ass to put which is better, Endgame or Snyder Cut. I get it.
How was that a question?
I know.
I was just fucking around. I was
doing it to prove a point. It was great.
Just to watch all these nerds fucking lose their minds and like say, no,
me personally, I put the Timverse. Right. I put the Timverse over the MCU. I don't care.
Yes,
that's me.
You could put the Timverse over the MCU.
It's hard to argue against. I love the MCU, but every show in the Timverse is fucking gold. I can't think of
and they're different. They're different.
Yes.
That's the thing about it.
Yeah.
Like Superman did on his show did different stuff that Batman couldn't do. Batman stuck in Gotham City. Superman's flying around in space and shit like that.
Yep.
And it's just different. Even the spin-off movies from it, Mask of the Phantasm.
Oh, dude,
or Batman Return of the Joker.
Oh, dude, Return of the Joker creeped me out, stuck with me for days after I watched that shit.
Those are legitimately two of the top 5 Batman movies ever made. Probably 2 of the top 3.
I mean, let's think about it. Return of the Joker may be the best Batman Joker fight of all time.
Oh, yes.
Maybe.
Like when you think about it,
Yes.
Mask of the Phantasm probably has the most iconic Joker laugh scene of any movie that I've ever
when he
seen.
just died. They almost thought about just killing him off at the Mask of the Phantasm. They brought him off back anyway. So yeah, it's Joker, but yeah,
you can never kill the Joker. No matter what version of continuity we're in, you can never kill the Joker.
So yeah, those are great choices. Everybody had good choices. There were some surprises on there.
They gave us a Superman Shazam fight on there.
Oh, dude, don't! That's fucking amazing too. Holy shit! That's the best Shazam fight of anything.
That's the best Shazam. Yeah. Like they literally brought Shazam on there just to fight Superman, but it completely made sense. And Lex Luthor was behind the scene controlling the whole shit. It was
brilliant the way they used like this more like wholesome version of Superman to like show how Superman was like falling further into like a moral quagmire. It was great stuff.
Yeah, man. Wow.
Batman the Animated Series will always be the top place in my heart for the Timverse, but this is probably the better pick for a list like this because it does encompass all of it.
Yeah. You get everybody, and they're all different. Yeah, I don't know. We could go on and on.
Yeah, that's why I didn't choose any cartoons or animated shows.
Oh, sure.
I was tempted to put Batman the Animated Series, but I already had 2 other cartoons. So
I started to put on it, but I didn't want to fill it up with Timverse shows.
Yeah,
and I had X-Men. I had X-Men the Animated Series on my mention.
I could have done more than one Star Trek show. I could have done like 2 or 3 more cartoons. Like it was hard narrowing this down.
I almost put Dragon Ball Z.
I had Transformers on my list.
Dragon Ball Z is good. That's good shit.
There was no anime.
More than any other show, that might have been the one that like defined the most childhood.
Because it was just so much iconic stuff on it, just Super Saiyan, all this stuff.
Yeah. The problem with anime is shit never ends.
Yeah.
You know, so
I mean, Dragon Ball Z is the ultimate gateway anime, you know?
Arrested Development was on my short list. I don't know if anyone's ever watched Arrested Development. It's an awesome comedy. The difference there is a lot of times they'll tell the punchline before they tell the joke. So it's better on a rewatch. But that's part of the fun. Jeopardy is a better game show, I think, pound for pound.
I'll be honest with you, I almost put WandaVision on here.
Do what?
I almost did put WandaVision on here. Like, seriously, I almost did, but I was like, nah.
I feel like you got to give it at least a year to like.
Yeah, let's sit on it and think about it and see if we come back to it.
What about Mando? What about Clone Wars?
Mando's a good choice.
No, like I said, I wasn't going to do any cartoons, or else, then I had to pick, Voltron, Transformers,
You would have picked the Transformers, the 86.
It was on my list. It was on my list.
That Headmasters and on 3rd season is terrible, man. It's so hard to watch.
And I had Batman the Animated Series, I also had a bunch of shit that I watched as a kid. Amazing Stories, Greatest American Hero.
Nice.
Shit like that. Miami Vice. I was really into Miami Vice.
24 almost made my list.
Apparently, since I'm the guy who's gonna pull back from the 60s, I'm gonna throw out the Twilight Zone as an honorable mention.
Nice. And that's even
also WandaVision.
Yeah, and that's now. There's Twilight Zone episodes that it's canceled now, but within the past year.
Maybe the only show on this list other than X-Files that has the most iconic theme music of all time. You know?
Sure. Yeah.
I had Battlestar Galactica. I had
the old one or the new one?
The new one. Yeah. Dexter, Atlanta. Nice. I had on here.
Oh,
Atlanta. Yeah, Atlanta.
Great, damn. That never even occurred to me to put it on this list. I think that is a movie. For some
reason. Mentioned Lost a second ago, and I love Lost, but it was really just sitting in its own shit towards the middle of the show.
Yeah, 4 or 5 seasons is all we really needed of Lost.
It was spinning its wheels. That's a good example
with J.J. Abrams. You start an idea and then just lets it just go wherever it wants to go. So
one of the best things about Breaking Bad and Avatar: The Last Airbender is they ended those shows when they intended to. Yeah. Lost is the ultimate example of a show that they artificially stretched out just because it was getting ratings.
Yeah. Sopranos. I have Sopranos.
I had Sopranos. List. I had The Wire.
Sopranos and The Wire, are both
I don't care. I almost had Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. on here. I don't care.
That's
my show. That's my show. I don't care. No. It's there. Here's the thing. The show got better actually when it got away from the MCU. When they just started ignoring the MCU, it actually got better. So, and then Ghost Rider season. Oh man, come on.
The Ghost Rider season's good shit. It really is.
Yeah.
I had Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones. Yeah.
Even though the last few the last few episodes sucked and ruined everything. But leading up to that was some of the most captivating television that I was ever watching.
2 or 3. I'll even say it. A lot of people just hate that very last episode. Can that ruin an entire series?
Yeah.
I'm not a big
endings are important.
I know.
I don't think so. I don't think I think we should still have it mentioned here because so much of it was so good, but the first episodes and the last episodes are always the most important ones, you know?
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
I mean, I'll admit that last episode was but I gotta admit, when Arya killed the Night King, I was jumping up on my couch like, oh my god. You know, that show had so many of those moments, those highest, those exhilarating, like, oh my god, and then also just those gut-wrenching dick punches that, like, oh my god.
Like, and even the last few episodes, like
I've been sober for like 20 years and now I need a drink, you know.
Like that last fight between the Hound and the Mountain, that was probably the last really hype moment from the show, I think.
Eli mentioned Different Strokes, and I think that covers all of the
I mean,
I would call them basic sitcom. Cosby Show.
Different World was actually a better show, though.
Different World was a better show in college. Oh my gosh, I love that show so much.
Yeah, amazing stories. I mean, I don't know if you guys watch Pose. That's probably an acquired taste, but I love that show. And the last season is coming out.
It's great.
Yeah, good times.
We're going back. Man, I can still go and watch
Fresh Prince. I would have put that on there.
What's happening?
No, we have the Will Smith rule here. It carries over.
No. Oh, it carries over. Okay,
it carries over.
I didn't really watch the Fresh Prince. So, Parks and Rec I had on here.
Yeah.
Broad City.
No Power Rangers. Nobody had Power Rangers.
I think we're too old for that crowd.
I was getting laid by the 90s, you know.
Yeah.
So,
Married with Children I got on here.
Oh, dude.
Married with Children. Oh, shit. Yeah.
Married with Children. Yeah. In Living Color, I think you mentioned.
I'll also throw out Doctor Who.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. But
oh my gosh!
Only thing is because you got which Doctor? Oh, we talking like the entire.
Well, that's the reason it didn't make my list is because like a show that's been on that long and with so many different leads, it's got it's so all over the place. Honestly, like you're inherently gonna like some doctors better than other. But hell, I gotta let's see, fucking.
No, it's a good honorable mention.
Yeah,
it's a good honorable mention.
Some people like Tennant, some people like Smith, some people like Baker, and the old school. Yeah.
Awesome. So any other honorable mentions before we put a bow on this bad boy?
Well, we're on British shows. I really like Top Gear. I don't even like Cars. I love Top Gear.
I would put Holmes.
The young ones.
Shit. Okay, British shows. The IT Crowd.
Oh, the IT Crowd.
I didn't think about it. That actually probably would have been my top 5, but I don't know which one I would have took off. But yeah, definitely IT Crowd.
Yeah, that show's rad. What was the Sherlock Holmes show with Cumberbatch?
Sherlock Holmes.
Sherlock.
Oh, was it? Sorry.
Yes.
Well, it's like 6 episodes. It's like 8 seasons, but somehow only 6 episodes. I don't know.
That's how most of the British shows are.
They only did like 3 episodes.
And not the CW.
Season,
yeah. So yeah, great stuff. Awesome.
Oh, and the British Office also.
Yeah, British Office is good. It's good.
Yeah.
It's hard to go back and forth. You get to like your people. You know what I mean? What are we gonna do next?
66.
Do we want to do what show? What'd you say you like?
Batman 66.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
I love that, man. I don't know. I won't say top 5, but that show got a special place.
It's the reason why I'm into Batman. It's the reason why probably I'm a nerd.
Cool.
You know, that predates Star Wars for me. So
right. For the next top 5, do we want to do best comic book characters?
So not heroes, really not villains, just characters.
Just characters.
Just
top
characters,
5
like
comic book characters.
Okay.
Detective Chimp.
Detective Chimp. Not Swamp Thing, but Man Thing.
I mean, you son of a bitch, I'm in, you know.
Awesome. All right, so we'll do that, and we also have a damn, did I get I think I got an image for this. Yeah. This is gonna be us reviewing The Fifth Element sometime next month. And yeah, top 5 comic book characters. Awesome. Thanks everybody for listening, hanging out. Check everything out we do at outrightgeeker.com. It's not a website anymore, but it is a landing page. We got all kinds of links over there. I think including links to the Comic Book Bully stuff. Please check them out. Just search Comic Book Bullies everywhere. They record their show or live stream it actually right here on the Facebook page. Usually Sunday night into Monday mornings.
OG After Dark.
Yeah, OG After Dark. Exactly. So yeah, that's it. Thanks everybody for listening. But most of all, thanks guys for hanging out. Later. We're gonna do it next time. You're up, Taylor. You got to do it.
Oh fuck. Same geek time, same geek channel.
You can put your own special spin on it.
I didn't see that coming, man. You really put me on the spot.
I know, I did. Well, you said I love Lucy, so what the fuck?